It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 4 films of March 17th, 2006. We have a lot of films to get to, so let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Let's go ahead and get to the first movie we have here, the biggest new release of the weekend. Another one of Alan Moore's classic graphic novels being turned into a major motion picture in the form of Thea Vendetta. Remember the 5th of November, which was originally the marketing campaign when this movie was supposed to open up on November 4th of 2005. No joke, this was from the end of the original teaser trailer.
Remember the 5th of November.
Can't imagine why they didn't want to include it when they moved the film to March, but I digress. Thea Vendetta, this is of course set against the futuristic landscape of a totalitarian Britain, and tells the story of a mild-mannered young woman played by Natalie Portman who's rescued from a life-and-death situation by a masked vigilante known as V, played by Hugo Weaving. Incomparably charismatic and ferociously skilled in the art of combat and deception, V ignites a revolution where he detonates 2 London landmarks and takes over the government-controlled airways, urging his fellow citizens to rise up against tyranny and oppression. As Edie uncovers the truth about V's mysterious background, she also discovers the truth about herself, and emerges as an unlikely ally in the culmination of this plot to bring freedom and justice back to a society fraught with cruelty and corruption. Clearly, something like this will never happen in real life. But all that aside, this is a pretty freaking awesome movie, man. It's a slick, solid action movie. Easily the best adaptation of an Alan Moore graphic novel, and kind of like with the history of violence, the film gets a lot more of its interesting moments from its main character, in this case, Hugo Weaving's V, and all throughout the movie, you're wondering what is up with this character. Why does he have this resentment against the government? And as the film plays out, we're invested in why he has these theories, why he's so cold and bitter, and why he so wants to help Natalie Portman out in the process. And on top, he's just a friggin' badass, man. Hugo Weaving just kills this role and plays it so well to a T. You see the ways he actually tries to save Evie when she's in peril, and you're amazed at how he can handle these weapons and all, and just beat the shit out of everybody around him. And even Natalie Portman's character is very interesting in here. She shows that she can handle herself in these big action pictures like that, aside from like great dramaticals we've seen her in with Garden Sitting Closer. Her backstory is so tragic, and throughout the entire film, you're just waiting for something good to happen to her, and it never comes. It's basically the equivalent of a gender reversal of Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave. Like, it feels like it's that kind of a film in general. There's also great performances by Stephen Ray and John Hurt. The Wachowski brothers do a good job of adapting the graphic novel to the big screen. They make enough changes that work better to the film to run it more smoothly without leaving anything important or adding elements to a story that could be seen as absolutely pointless. The action sequences are top-notch, one of the best climaxes you'll ever see, and not much more to say about this movie in general, man, but I never really hear anybody complain about the film, but I do have a problem with how Alan Moore took the news that V Vendetta was turning into a movie. He read the script, he refused to watch the movie, and he tried to distance himself from it so much that he had his name removed from all the credits of the movie. I mean, I really think Alan Moore should have at least watched it, because League of Extraordinary Gentlemen from Hell, you can understand him being upset with this works being turned into bad movies, but he didn't even watch V Vendetta, and I think that if he'd watched the film, he probably would have liked it, because it does stay very true to the original source material. Even if he doesn't like it, he would have at least had to admit that it stays true to the original source material compared to other adaptations. But, of course, Watchmen comes out after this, and he's not going to have good things to say about that one either. But then again, he might have a point on that one. But bottom line here, there's really nothing else more I could say about V Vendetta that hasn't already been said. It's a great film that stays very close to the source material, has a great cast, a lot of good action, surprisingly good amount of drama to it, good script, great direction. It's just an incredible movie. I can't recommend it enough. V Vendetta, a classic, classic film. So with all that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is Amanda Bynes starring in She's the Man. Like I said, it's basically just a modern version of Just One of the Guys, that 80s movie that came out back in the day with pretty much the same concept here. You have Amanda Bynes starring as a teenager who enters her brother's new boarding school in his place and pretends to be a boy in order to play on the boys' soccer team. Of course, this is based off of William Shakespeare's play Twelfth Night, and also features a cast that includes Channing Tatum, Vinnie Jones, David Cross, Laura Ramsey, and this is a film that works mostly because of Amanda Bynes, and it's just another one of those movies where it's just like, she's so good in this movie, and just to see how her career took a massive nosedive not too long after this, it's just like, what happened to you, man? Like what happened to you, Amanda? You used to have a bright future ahead of you, and then you just kind of fell off completely. And it's just like, it's a shame, because movies like this just make you realize the true potential this chick had back in the day. You know, she looked like she was on her way to having a great career, and then all of a sudden it just came crashing down, and just nothing she's been able to do since then has been able to make her come back from it, especially considering all the things that was going on behind the scenes with her. But this is a good film. It works mostly because of her, but there's a strong cast overall that makes this work. It does feel like a watered-down version of Just One of the Guys, which at least I give that one more credit because it had more of an edge to it and what they were able to do with it. Like, obviously having a scene where the main girl in that movie has to reveal her shirt to realize to reveal that she's been taping up her boobs to act like she's a boy. Like, this movie unfortunately does not have that same kind of caliber, but this movie works well for what it is. It's not a great movie by any means necessary, but it's a good, fun movie regardless. I think it works mostly because of the performances, especially Amanda Bynes. Plus, the concept overall is very good. And like I said, it's not a great movie overall, but I got more than enough laughs from it to recommend. I think it is a fun film for what it is. So yeah, it's worth a watch just because of that. She's the man. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie. Vin Diesel tackling a rare dramatic role for him nowadays, in Find Me Guilty. I mean, to the movie's credit, Vin Diesel is the best thing about the film in general. The movie itself, not so much. This is based off the true story of the longest mafia trial in American history. Much of the courtroom testimony taken from the original court transcripts, and you have Vin Diesel starring as a New Jersey mobster who was on the trial for 19 of his colleagues for racketeering. A wrench is thrown into the system when Vin Diesel's character fires his lawyer and decides to represent himself. And you also have Peter Dinklage, Linus Roche, Alex Rocco, Ron Silver, Annabelle Sciorra among the cast. Directed by Sidney Lumet, and I don't know. To me, like I said, Vin Diesel, I think, does carry the film overall to the point where it is a really good performance by Vin Diesel, and something that's very different compared to what we're used to seeing from him in general. But the film itself overall, there's nothing really about it that makes it all that special or all that amazing. It's just kind of there. There's just nothing about it there that makes it anything unique or different. But the one thing that does hold it together, I think, at least to say it's watchable, is to see Vin Diesel doing something radically different outside of his norm. And other than that, though, that's pretty much all I can say about the movie. It's not that great of a film. It's a shame because the pieces are there for something interesting, but the film itself just can't work around the Vin Diesel performance enough to say that it's something that should be seen. And other than that, though, it's just kind of like, it's fine, I guess. Like, if you want to see Vin Diesel in something that's very outside of his normal characters he plays, watch it for that, but you're not going to want to watch it again after the first time watching it. I mean, for what it is, it's fine for what it is, but I really wanted to see more from it, honestly. So that is Find Me Guilty, but let's go ahead and get to probably the best overall film of the week, one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Jason Reitman's Thank You for Smoking. But Thank You for Smoking. This is the directorial debut for Jason Reitman, who of course is the son of Ivan Reitman, starring Aaron Eckhart as a big tobacco chief spokesman who lobbies on behalf of cigarettes using heavy spin tactics while also trying to remain a role model for his 12-year-old son. You've got a stacked cast that includes Maria Bello, Adam Brody, Sam Elliott, Katie Holmes, David Koechner, Rob Lowe, William H. Macy, J.K. Simmons, Robert Duvall, and a really, really interesting movie when you really look at it, because the main hero of the film can also be seen as the bad guy in here. You have a guy here that's trying to sell people cigarettes, and we know now that cigarettes, have all these negative side effects to it. But you need a guy like Aaron Eckhart's character to like give you these buzzwords to use to sell these products to people that you would never think you'd be able to sell them to. And the movie does a very good job of creating a character that knows what he's doing is probably not a good thing in terms of long-term health, but he also has to know that how to be a role model to his son, played by Cameron Bright. And this movie has a lot of interesting turning points throughout the course of the movie. There's actually an alternate ending where, if they went with it, Aaron Eckhart's character would have gone completely against everything that he had been beforehand. And I'm kind of glad they got rid of that scene in general here. And it's just like, it just feels so out of character in here, because what makes this movie great is Aaron Eckhart is so confident in what he's saying. He's so believable in what he's trying to tell people, like to the point where William H. Macy, like there's a point towards the end of the movie where, you know, there's a big thing where like he's talking about, you know, if your son wanted a cigarette, what would you say to him? And you know, Aaron Eckhart gives this impassioned speech at the end about it. Like William H. Macy is telling him, you know, what if he turns 18 and he wants a cigarette? Are you going to buy him that? And Aaron Eckhart's just like, if he wants a cigarette, I will buy him his first pack. Like, he is so impassionate with what he's doing and trying to convince everybody that smoking is actually okay. And I think it's such an incredible, unique spin on a character like this that we really don't usually see, especially with a guy with the background that he has here. And, you know, you got to give the movie a lot of credit for doing that with a character like this. And that's the beauty of what Jason Reitman does. He makes these movies that are not just movies that are being made because, you know, he's a Nepo baby. Of course, he's the son of Ivan Reitman. I mean, just recently, I saw his latest film, Saturday Night. This guy is such a great director because he doesn't just make blockbuster comedies like his dad did. Like, he'll go in there every once in a while, like Ghostbusters Afterlife, for example. But, like, he makes these smaller movies, and they're just so unique in how they're handled, how he films them, how he writes them. It's just... That's what this really take away from this movie, the brilliance of what Jason Reitman brings to the table. And this is a movie that does show everything that what makes Jason Reitman so special and somebody so unique for the time period. And of course, he would follow it up with Juno. He followed it up with Up in the Air. Like, he really is one of the best directors we have right now. And it started with this movie right here. Not much more I can say about this movie that hasn't already been said. It's a fantastic film. One of my favorite movies of all time from one of my favorite directors of all time. Thank you for smoking. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We'll wrap up March. Actually, we won't wrap up March because there's 2 weeks left in March. But we'll head into the next week in March with 3 movies, including Spike Lee's Inside Man, which is radically different than some of Lee's other movies, but it has Denzel Washington and Clive Owen among the cast. We also have the video game horror movie Stay Alive, and oh boy, I'm looking forward to telling you what I originally thought about this movie because, yeah, this is one I've been building up for a while now as one of the biggest regrets I ever made back in the day when I was doing my review show for high school. Larry the Cable Guy, Health Inspector, and if you don't know what I said, because I've talked about it before, just wait until the next episode, and, yeah, you're going to think I'm crazy for what I said back in the day about it, but 3 movies we'll take a look at. We'll do that on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button to get updates when videos come out. We post every day. And with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.